Well, you know what? Sometimes I don't know everything. Welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. We're doing a Star Trek episode. We're here in the transporter room because I haven't really been in here before, and it's kind of related to what we're about to talk about. We're talking about the original series episode, The Gamesters of Triskelion, which is one of those episodes where we take some of the crew of the Enterprise, we put them into the games and we have them fight. And of course, Kirk hooks up with the beautiful woman. In this case, her name is Shauna. She's played by Angelique Pettyjohn. And there are the standard tropes that we are used to with a Star Trek episode. Now, the reason we're in the transporter room is actually to do with the very end of the episode, because the spoiler, I guess, the Enterprise figures it all out, and Kirk and them are ready to say goodbye, and they beam back up to the Enterprise to go on to their next adventure. But the last shots of the original episode are actually concentrating on Shauna, and she's looking up into the sky, and she's like saying goodbye to Captain Kirk. And I always thought that scene was a bit cheesy and a bit silly. Like, I don't know what we're going for here. I mean, Shatner's such a heartthrob, I guess. And, you know, we've done this a lot of times up to this point in the original series. So why is she being all, like, teary-eyed and sad that, oh no, my beloved is gone? But that's not actually what was going on there. I found out recently through a Facebook group, there was a whole different thing going on in that particular scene, and I wanted to share it because it is worthy of mention. So I got my pad out here, and I just want to read out. This is from a Facebook group called Star Trek Series and Movies. It's a bit long, but it's worth it, so bear with me as I read this out. October 20th, 1967. During day 4 of filming The Gamesters of Triskelion, Series Episode 47, Season Episode 16, an inside source at NBC leaked word that Star Trek would not receive a last-minute pickup for the balance of the season. Gamesters would be the last episode to film. So suddenly, there were many times with the original series, it was on life support, they were going to pull the plug any minute. And apparently, during the filming of Gamesters of Triskelion, they got word from down the pipe, this is it, kids. It's over after this episode. I didn't know that, which was very intriguing. But what I found out with this article is even more compelling. Angelique Pettyjohn, who played Shauna, remembered 3 or 4 days after we started filming it, John Meredith Lucas, producer, came in during lunch and made an announcement to the cast and crew. He was sorry to say the network had canceled the series. Everyone was depressed. Bijo Trimble, a frequent visitor to the set, remembered, I can distinctly remember that Nichelle Nichols was so upset that at one point she was just sitting in her makeup mirror in tears. It was quite depressing to watch people work. Actors earned their pay that day by really acting. They'd go in front of the cameras and be dramatic or comical and smile as if they meant it, and then come off camera with a sigh or a frown. And it is funny, like, Gamesters of Triskelion it's got its sort of lighthearted elements. Sure, Kirk meets up with Shauna and, you know, they're all lovey-dovey, but the aliens involved are obviously thinking, well, we should hook up everybody. So even Uhura gets a big Lars, a big burly guy, to be her romantic partner. And they even hook up Chekhov with this lady thrall who is quite enamored with him. He doesn't seem to feel the same way about her. And he's very funny. His bits in trying to deflect her advances are comic gold. But just think, during the filming of that, they're also being told, yeah, this is the last episode, during filming. Like, wow, that really speaks to professionalism and the capacity of really good actors to, like, okay, rein it in. Don't let what you're going through right now impact the performance. What we see on screen is the most important thing. Wow. However, here's the bit that really touched me. Pettyjohn, Shauna, added, "On my last day of shooting, I had a particular speech where I said, 'Goodbye, Jim Kirk. I will watch the lights in the sky and remember.'" That's the bit that I was thinking, it's a bit cheesy, but okay, sure. And crying in that scene. I had tears in my eyes, and those tears were real, because I was thinking that this was goodbye to Star Trek. I really cried, and that's how I meant it, because I knew the series wasn't going to be shooting anymore. Within 48 hours of the dispiriting rumor, word came down from NBC the network had reversed its decision and was placing an order for 8 more episodes. Shatner said, "Obviously the hearsay ultimately proved to be untrue, but for a 2-day period we all had become convinced that Star Trek was a terminal case." So in the filming of that last shot from Gamesters of Triskelion, the impression was, it's over. And Shauna and the tears running down her eyes, Angelique Pettyjohn's tears running down her eyes, were real. She was like, this is the end of this series, and I am here to deliver its epitaph, I suppose? Like, wow. So the next time I watch this episode, I'm going to be a lot more tolerant and accepting and understanding of, like, this was not a cheesy, oh, I loved Captain Kirk and now he's gone. It's not that. It's, the show is over. Goodbye. Tears running down the face. That's a really interesting thing. I'll see if I can find the original Facebook posting. If not, I'll have the image and I'll make it so it's something you can click on and read if you want to have another read through. But wow, just think. They thought the show was over with the filming of Gamesters of Triskelion. And Shauna's last words may have been the last thing we'd ever heard. And then the crew beamed up here into the transporter room and luckily went on to more adventures. Thank goodness. All right, well, I'm going to leave it there. So until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.